So hello everyone, thank you for joining today on this webinar. It's our first one in 2024. The topic today is features, the new features that we developed in 2023 and the roadmap for 2024. And we have also some nice little goodies on the way. So let's present ourselves today. We have 4 people today for the presentation of the webinar. So myself, Anna Walter, I'm the product manager at ClicData. We have Telmo Silva, our CEO and founder, who's going to talk about the roadmap. And then we have Sri Neve, our VP Operations of North America, and Eddie Geraldus, data analyst. So both of them are going to present demos. Let's see the agenda. As I said before, we have the new features released in 2023 and the 2 demos. And then we have time for the roadmap ahead of us for 2024 and time for Q&A. So let's jump right away into the juicy stuff, into the demos. So the first demo is going to be presented by Elise. It's data hooks. So Elise, I'll close my mic and you can take over.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Anna. Let me know if you hear me well or not. So yeah, I'm going to present the data hook, which is a really exciting new feature that we have since the last release, so since last week. And I'm going to maybe just quickly explain what is the data hook and also show you an example. So maybe first, what is also a webhook? So a webhook is a method to send information to an URL based on an event. An event can be, for instance, a new contact in your CRM, a new order in your e-commerce platform, or a new meeting created in your calendar, or whatever else. And then the webhook will send the information to the data hook. The data hook is the new module that we propose in ClicData, and that will listen and receive and the information and then trigger actions such as run a data flow, update data in real time. So we can think, for instance, of a tool like Calendly, and that's the one I will use for the example. So let me share my other screen. So Calendly, which is a calendar scheduling platform. Let me know if you can see my screen. So where people can book meeting, for instance, here directly with me in my calendar. So let's say I can choose the slots and put some example. Oh, sorry. I can put some details. And then the schedule, the meeting is scheduled. So Calendly then will create the Teams link directly in my calendar. But here, what is interesting is that the meeting will be sent via the webhook, and then in ClicData, the data hook will add the data in my ClicData account. Here, for instance, I have created a table which contains all the events, and now I can see that in my table I have now one row with this meeting. So that's the time I booked, and that's the time it's just right now with an hour of because if it's a UTC, that's all. But it was really in right away. I just received the information and the data was added in the table. So now let's see maybe how I have set it up. So there are different steps to do, and the first one is to create the data hook in ClicData. So to find the data hook, it's in the main menu and in the data section, just after the data flow. When you create a data hook, you will need to put an URL, a link that you can custom, and also to choose a method if you need a post, get, or something else. That's all for the creation of the data hook. The second step is then to create the webhook in the other application. So in my case, sorry, it was Calendly. And for Calendly, to create a webhook, you needed to do it via the API. But please be aware that each software has its own way to create webhooks. Most of the time, it can be directly via the UI, and it's much simpler. But the important thing to notice is that when you create a webhook, you will need to put the URL that you can see here, and that's the URL I've just created in my webhook, in my data hook, sorry. Then you can choose which type of event you want to send. Here, for instance, I want to retrieve all the meetings that are newly created. So it means that whenever a user creates a meeting in my Calendly, the Calendly webhook will record and collect data, such as, for instance, the name, the contact, the contact name, or the email address, or the time of the meeting, and then send it to the data hook. And then the data hook is able to do different actions, such as, for instance, insert a row in a table. For now, we can also delete a row in a table and refresh a table. As a second action, you can also run a data flow if you want. The goal is to add more and more actions here available. But here, the goal of this data hook is really to update my data table and also then my dashboard, my reports in real time without waiting the schedule to run at a specific time. I hope the demo was clear and that you can now know a bit more on how to set up a data hook.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Elise. I think that was very clear. Of course, if you have questions, we have a documentation that explains how to set up data hooks, and you can ask questions to the support team as usual, and we will be very happy to help you. And if you have any ideas of other ways to use it, please share that with us as well. It's always very insightful. I hope, are we back to the presentation? Here we go. Yes. So I think Shri, it's up to you now, right? You're going to talk about AI in ClicData.
That sounds good. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to quickly talk about the different AI modules that we have on ClicData. We've been making a lot of developments in the last few releases, trying to integrate AI in different places within the application, from data side to insights to data flow to the dashboard. So I'll just introduce you. I want to introduce you to the different areas where the AI module is available on ClicData. And once I've introduced you that, I'll go through a quick demo on how you can use that AI module within different areas. We have on the data tables side, we have an option to click on the properties for any table that you have uploaded on ClicData and go ahead and ask AI questions directly related to your datasets, questions such as how is a particular manager doing, or which is the best performing manager for a particular region. And directly from the data, you can get quick insights. Along with the insights, you can also get some queries on how that is being formulated while AI is replying back to you. The next section where you have AI available is the data insight section. So the data insight will allow you to do quick analysis of your data, create a pivot table that can help you drill down into the data a little bit more and understand some specific metrics for either a particular category or a particular group. If you want to split by different products, you could do that. But instead of creating your insights manually, you could just ask AI directly and go ahead and it will create the insights for you. The next section that we have is on data flow. While creating calculated metrics, you need to know how to write a calculated formula or transact SQL. But now with the Ask AI option out there, you don't need to really know what is the right syntax to write those calculations. You can directly ask AI on the data flow module to write the syntax for you, and it's going to create the syntax automatically for you. And the last section is the dashboard section, where we have an AI chat feature, which allows you to go back and forth between different questions related to your data. So this is the module that you can enable for your end users. Your end users can access the dashboard and they can interact with the data sets that you have selected to go ahead and ask questions related to that. I'll get into the demo and just show you quickly all these different features that we have gone through. And seems like we do have, I'm just checking if there are any questions, but nothing yet. So, okay. Hopefully you can see my screen now. So the first one that we have is on the data side. Once you have uploaded a table on your ClicData account, you can just click on the properties here and you can click on Ask AI. So here, based on the data set that you have, you can ask any question. For instance, I'm working with retail data that is selling products across different regions for different brands. And maybe just looking at the data, I would like to understand who is the best performing manager. And I can go ahead and ask a question like based on the quantity, who is the best performing manager, ask AI, and then it will give you the answer in an output format that Albert seems to be the best performing manager with a total quantity of so and so. Here you can also have a quick look at the data. So it will automatically return a sum of the quantity for that particular manager. And you'll also have a query that you can use in case you're connecting to ClicData's database externally. You can iterate these queries further rather than just asking who is the best performing manager. I might want to ask who is the best performing manager selling a particular brand. And if I ask AI that, it will tell me who is the best performing manager for that particular brand. So this is how you can interact on the data side by just asking simple questions and getting quick insights or quick answers for that particular data set. The next we have is on the insights. So within insights, you could go ahead and create a new insight, select the data table. And once you have selected the data table, rather than selecting the columns and rows manually, you can just click on the Ask AI feature at the right top. Here you can ask a question. So for instance, I want to see, give me the total quantity for every manager and group it by city. And I can click on Ask AI, and the AI will automatically create that particular insight for you. So I can go ahead and click on the particular manager and city and get the result, get the desired quantity that I want for that particular manager and city. Then the next section we have is the data flow. Within data flow, can you start by creating a new data flow? Let's say this is my AI demo. I drag and drop an input table, and I've selected the same retail performance table. And on this table, I have a few columns. I have a quantity and a price per quantity, but I don't have a sales column. And I would like to create a new column which gives me the total sales. So I can simply drag and drop the calculated column here, connect that particular input widget, give a name to the column. This is my total sales. And instead of typing in a formula myself, I can click on the Ask AI button at the top and simply type in total sales, click on generate, and it will automatically identify your data schema and understand that the quantity and the price per quantity should probably give you total sales, and it will recreate that particular formula for you. You click on save, and now you have a formula that is created without you having to know the syntax or having to go through how to create that particular total sales column. The last is on the dashboard side. This is where you can start creating an AI chat that you can give your end users access to. So on the dashboard side, you have the AI chat feature that you could just drag and drop. You can select a data set related to that particular widget. And once you have selected, you can either add some prompts, and I'll give you some examples on how to add prompts as well. Or you can go ahead and start asking, click on save and start asking questions directly. So I've already created an AI chat feature which I've formatted that is connected to my retail data. So let's say the first prompt that I want to give to my AI bot is how to calculate sales. And I wanted to use a specific formula to calculate sales. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it that to calculate sales, use the formula quantity times price per quantity. Once I have supplied that particular prompt, if I say, who is the best performing manager based on sales. It already knows how to calculate the sales, and it will give me the best performing manager now based on sales. Additionally, I can go ahead and give it more prompts. Maybe I want to calculate sales before tax and after tax. So I need to give it some additional prompts so it understands how to do the calculations. So I'm going to further give it certain prompts. Let's say the sales after tax is sales, sales before tax is sales times 1 minus my tax rate. And I also want to specify the tax rate. If I'm selling something in the bakery department, I know the tax rate is 0.15, sorry, 0.5, and everything except the bakery, the tax rate is 0.15. So I've given it some prompts that it understands according to my business what is the tax rate. And once I have given this, I can go ahead and ask AI to give me sales before tax and sales after tax for each department. It will automatically do the calculation for me. It will use the prompts to calculate what is the sales before tax, what is the sales after tax. And it also knows that for bakeries, 50% of tax. So for bakeries, 0.5 tax rate that it's using. And for the other areas, it's using 0.15. So this is how you could use a little bit more prompts and give this power of AI chat to your end users, because once you place that object on your dashboard, you have that access on the live link as well. So you could just go ahead and when your users access the live link, they have the ability to go ahead and start asking the AI chat any questions they would like to ask about that data. So that's a little bit about the different AI features that we have. Feel free to ask questions, so we'll answer them as we go along. And we have a separate section at the end to ask some questions and answers. So we'll get to those questions at that point of time. I'm going to hand it over back to Anna to continue to the next one.
Yeah, I can see there are actually a lot of questions on AI. But I think we'll keep this at the end because we know it's a subject where people are really passionate, and that will trigger a very long conversation probably. So we keep them at the end. So for now, we're just going to go through the new features roundup, what we've created in 2023. And I'm going to show you these new features. You might have seen them before, and maybe not. So we'll see. So first of all, we're going to talk about data flows, then data tables, and then analytics piece, and then various areas. So to start, does this work? No, it does not. Okay, I have to click. So data flow for those who are not very familiar with it yet, it's our new module to create and data processings. So whenever you want to transform data, add calculations, etc., just use data flows. That's exactly what Sri did before in his presentation. And this is where we're going to invest our time and efforts in development. So data flow is super powerful. It's super easy to use. It's really great and super easy to adopt, really. So don't hesitate. And if you have questions, we have documentation, etc. I'm saying that because data flows are there. Have been there now for 2 years. So it's a very mature product, and we all love to use it internally, even though we see that adoption sometimes is not so mature yet among customers. So that's why I'm saying that. Just take a look at it, and you'll see it's a really great way to handle and process data. So I'm going to talk about these new elements we've developed in Dataflow. So we have a few new nodes. So one of them is the remove duplicate node. Based on unique keys and orders, you can deduplicate your data. So I have a few examples here on this slide. You can see on the left the original data and different ways to deduplicate that based on different keys and orders. So it's a very handy tool if you have cleanup operations to do on your data. Another node that we developed recently is the text to rows or columns. It's very similar to the other one we had before, which is the JSON to rows and JSON to column nodes. It does actually transform whatever array of items that you have in a field into rows or columns, depending on the node that you choose. And it really helps you to to prepare your data for other operations afterwards, and also for cleaning. We have also a new aggregation mode, which is concatenation, which you can apply in existing nodes, the group rows and the aggregate column nodes. So this helps you to do actually the reverse of the text to rows. This is actually turning rows to a list of items. As you can see here on the screen, we have, for example, multiple iterations of different cities for a certain person, and you can turn those into a list, into a new column. Super handy. That's something that has been asked a lot before by users, and I hope you will find this useful. We have also developed a new geocoding node. So this is super useful if you use geographical data and you are missing latitude and longitude, for example. So you can turn address data, yeah, like you can see on the left side of that data set, the green column there, the address one. This has been transformed into latitude, longitude, postal code, city, and country name by the geocoding node. It has been generated using a service that we call here. It's the Here API, and basically what it does is it transforms address information into geocoding or geocoded metadata, like you would see, for example, on Google Maps, right? When you type an address, it will actually find out the exact latitude and longitude for that address. And that's exactly what it does. What this node does. Sorry. This will be helpful if you use maps, if you use location maps, for example, because then you can use latitude and longitude as your data points on the map, and this will render in a very performant and efficient way. On data flow, we have also added what I call smart helpers. So last week, we released the annotations and labels. This is also a feature that has been highly requested. It helps you organize your flows into logical blocks. So basically, the background panel is really just as it says, a background panel that you place where you want, and you shape the way you want behind some nodes, and then you can annotate that to make clear that these nodes perform a certain type of operations, for example. In this example, I think it's a bit small, maybe you can't see that, but the purple box here says cleaning data. So all these nodes in that box do actually clean the data. So that helps for documenting your own work when you go back to a data flow a few months later after having worked on it and you don't know anymore what you did. But it also helps for collaboration. If you have different people working on the same data flows, that will help to share the objective of the data flow and the logic behind each processing node. There is also another feature which is visible and available for almost all nodes. You can disable them. So that means that whenever a node is disabled, obviously it will not run when you execute the flow. So this is useful, for example, if you're using something like a filter on your data flow for exploring needs, for example, but yet then you actually don't need that filter anymore when you actually run the flow and you're ready to use the data in your dashboards and reports. So this feature is very handy as well. You can always disable and enable again. Of course, it may have impacts on the nodes after this node, but that's up to you to see how to use that smartly. All right, so that's for data flows. On the data explorers, we have different features now which are really useful to manage your data. So the first of them is the dependency graph, which was released last week. So you might not have seen that yet. You can actually, for any object, not only data, you can also do that for dashboards, reports, etc. You can explore all the dependencies of that object. So in this example here, we can see that this data table called user stats is used in different objects of the platform, schedules, dashboards, views. And what's nice about that is that you can actually navigate through the nodes. So for example, if I click on another node, I would see the dependencies of that node. And then I can also go directly into the editor of that object if I want to. So it's very useful to understand how the objects work together and to make sure that, for example, if you want to do some cleanup of your account, you don't delete something that is used somewhere else. And by the way, yeah, the dependency graph is available on the Explorer of all the different objects. For example, if you go to the drop-down property of a dataset, you would see the dependency menu there. The data schema, the schema editor of the data sets has also been improved. So it's now bigger and it's now easier to use. You have also more options to see a better UI, really, to see the different types of your data fields and make them visible or change the unique keys on your data set, etc. And what has been enhanced as well is the message that warns you when you do when you do schema changes, sorry, which will help you understand what's going on with your data. So the schema editor is now available as a separate window, separate pop-up. And you can see that on the left side of the screen, it's available under the data properties as well. And this is not the final place. Maybe it will change yet, but still. But for now, it's over here. If you're wondering where the schema has gone. All right. What else do we have? So data streams. We have developed a lot of new destinations for data streams. So you can now send your data out automatically to databases and to different storage platforms. We have also enabled data encoding and different options that you can apply to your data that is sent to these different destinations. On the analytics side, on the dashboards, we have two new widgets. So we have the AI chat that Shri has presented just a few minutes before. And we also have a video widget, which allows you to embed videos that you can store in your ClicData documents and media folder, and you can then display them on this widget. We have also new features for different existing widgets. For example, for the region map, you have now a new format that is available. So you can use TopoJSON, which is a very performant format, and which is lighter than others, like the GeoJSON, for example. And you can also have something very cool, which is the projection that you can apply to your data into your region format if you want, and you can do something like this very cool map of the world in 3D. You can even move it actually on the dashboard if your data allows it, if your data has the right format. But usually with TopoJSON, you can do that. The scorecard the widget has also gotten a bit of new enhancements. So we have a new formula to reference a cell in the scorecard outside of the widget. That's something that was missing and which is available now. And you can also export the data from the scorecard widget to Excel using the export button, which is also able to export data from tables, charts, etc. On the button, we have new interactions to run a data flow. We have also new formulas, a new date formula that will allow you to very easily calculate things like same day last year, same day last quarter, the first day of last year, the first day of current quarter, etc., etc. And we have also a new formula for widgets so that you can actually display the full data behind a chart, something that was missing and which can be useful in many cases. On the dashboard, we have also finished to develop our first set of templates. So you can access these dashboard templates from your account in the Dashboard Explorer. On the Add New button, just next to it, you have that little arrow. You can select the dashboard template, and you will see different templates that you can use and download to your account, and then use as your own, tweak and enhance and use as you need to. On reports, we have conditional formatting now and other features like the runtime filter, which is very useful when you run a report. You can actually add a filter on it, on a runtime filter, so that you apply it only when the report is run. We have also cover templates and different alignment options which have been developed. The Insights is now a full new module. You've seen that in Shri's presentation. Before we used to have quick insights, which was just a very quick exploration of your data. But now insights can actually be saved, and you can share them in folder with your teams and partners. You can sort and filter on every dimension and metric. That's also something that we didn't have before, and AI can help you with the setup, as Sri has shown. And then in various areas, navigation has been enhanced. So we have now the ability to search within the current folder only, if you want. Where before you would, when you actually do a search in an Explorer, it would actually search on all the folders. But now you can restrict that to the current folder. You have that little button on the search box. So by default, it's set to all folders, and you can switch to looking at only the current folder if you click on that little icon on the left side. Schedules now have been organized within folders like any other object in the platform. On the security side, you can now apply different operations in bulk. Like, for example, you can delete users in bulk, which is useful sometimes. And on the admin side, you have now multiple options that are available that used to be available only for white label. For example, the custom fonts are available now for all accounts. So you can upload your own custom fonts to the account and use it in your dashboards and reports. For those of you who are using a custom domain for your ClicData account, the PFX certificates are now managed and updated by ClicData directly, so you don't have to worry about anymore about updating and making sure that the PFX is up to date. And the whitelisting also has been enhanced. We can now support IPv6 addresses. And on the connection side, we support now Azure Synapse databases for self-hosted subscriptions. That's something new. And so if you're interested in that, please reach out to your account manager, and we can set it up with you. And on the connection side as well, we have revamped most of our connections. The UI has been revamped. So for example, you can now test a connection, making sure that it works, and also get some information if it doesn't work and why it doesn't work. And you can also have a changelog information to see who has maybe mingled with your connection, why it's not working anymore. On the API side, we have new endpoints, endpoints to create, delete, rename, etc. APIs, folders, live links, live link tokens. So almost everything is doable now via the API. And we have also new comparators, which allow for more flexibility in queries. So for example, before we used to have equal or less, etc. But now we have also comparators like contains or ends with or is empty or not within, whatever. So you have much more options now to actually explore and filter your data with these new comparators. All right, so that was maybe a bit quick. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask our support team as usual, and also to ask your account managers or your preferred person of ClicData, whoever it is. Okay, that was for my part. Now we're going into the roadmap.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks, Anna. That was it's an impressive amount of work that the team has done over the last year, I find. Thank you very much, Elise and Tri, as well, for those awesome demos. There's some stuff here that I haven't even thought of that you guys have been using, so that's pretty neat. So over to the roadmap. So I just want to kind of go back a little bit in time and not take too much of your time, but to explain why we built ClicData in the first place so many years ago. It was basically a CEO that asked me at the time to build a prototype because he really liked Tom Cruise in Minority Report. That was the entire basis of it. And I thought that was a great idea, and we built some prototypes. But before we could actually get to that phase of the visuals and the user interaction and the human-machine interface, we found that there was basically a very huge gap in how customers and companies as a whole basically built their reporting to manage their business. And what we found is that there's a gap for small, medium-sized companies that they can't afford it. They will use very basic systems, Excel's, a lot of manual work. And for the large companies, they make it overly complex, a lot of different teams and so forth. And that's how Infinis came about. Infinis is the name we give to the platform internally, although it's well known as ClicData. And 2023 was actually quite a milestone year for us because it was really the start of the next generation of this platform. And you may have seen some of the changes on the front end. And Anna already alluded to some of those changes in the connection screens being revamped. But it's an entire brand new framework. And we're almost at the end piece of refactoring it into the new platform. It is entirely used in new technology by the time it's done. And when I say new technology, I mean very recent technology. I'm not talking about, it's 3-4 years old. It's newer technology sometimes, and within a year of being released. And we find that's important because the world of software development has moved to a different speed these days, not only because of AI, but because of the amount of technologies available, the virtualization of servers and hardware. All this allows us to go faster. And I think one of the problems that many of our competitors suffer from is the fact that they've invested so much in old technology that they're now stuck in trying to support that. And again, just before we get into the roadmap, again, to understand the roadmap and why we've selected some of these features to work on, it's important to understand what ClicData was meant to solve in the first place, and why we feel we are different. We are different because we are not a data visualization tool. And if you come to us just for data viz, then that may not be enough for you to enjoy and actually profit from everything that ClicData has to offer. We are a data management and analytics platform, and data visualization is a portion of that, but it is a small portion. Making pretty charts, everybody can do it. Excel can do it amazingly. PowerPoint can do it. It's not about building pretty charts. It's about the cyclic processing of the data, of connecting to your data that is now sitting in cloud systems that you don't know exactly where it is. It is the ability to treat and transform that data into valuable information. It is the ability to receive that information in real time. It is a lot of things, and it's just not about visualization. And this is what we set out to solve. We set out to solve the ecosystem of data management for a company or for a business. And that's where we're going to continue to strive to work towards. And again, not in a way that you need to buy and build a bunch of pieces and servers and this and that, but in a simple menu that you have access to these features within your subscription and your plan easily, right? So this is the reason why we built it. And I think many of you that are here that have experienced ClicData, you made the decision because you tried it and you saw things in it that are really beneficial to you. And unfortunately, that's not the case with a lot of the decisions out there. But we're betting that once they see some of these new features that we've delivered in 2023 and that we're about to deliver in 2024, that they will actually like them. I'm not going to recap everything that we've done in 2023, but it's always nice to show my last presentation from a year ago. It's not even a year ago. I presented this in June of 2023. Which was a roadmap that was left to do for Q3 and Q4. And we actually ended up doing a lot of these things, data flow nodes, data stream targets, data hooks. They used to be called data buckets. And we had some data connectors that we wanted to get done. Unfortunately, Workflow Max was a discontinued product by Xero, so we were no longer, we were setting out to do it and we didn't do it. Tweeter, with the entire X thing and the cost of it, kind of put that out of the market for us and for many of our customers. And Amazon Vendor Central is just taking longer to deliver. So in essence, we've kind of delivered as many data connectors as we could. We replaced some other ones. We delivered reporting, and we have conditional formatting and subtables coming soon. It's already started in the end piece of 2023, and parameterization was actually delivered. So not too bad. We had a few turns, but nonetheless, let's see how well we do this year. So we've set out some challenges to the engineering team. And again, this is our roadmap. It can change for a variety of reasons. And again, it's potentially going to change. As we all know, there's always some minor things that happen throughout the year. But on the connector side, these are the connectors we were working on. Databricks, Amazon Vendor Central still, Zoho CRM, we're going to finish that off for this release coming up. LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Klaviyo, and PrestaShop. This is our target. We can always replace one with the other based on priorities, based on other things that happen, either with these data suppliers or with customers that want to do something else. On the AskAI front, some of these things that Sri already mentioned, queries and formulas, insights, dashboards, dashboard widgets, we're going to continue to improve on that, continue to look at the results we're getting and seeing how we can make it better, monitoring it, potentially putting some limits on it to make sure that it doesn't go crazy in terms of cost for us and therefore for you. As of now, we offer that included in your plans, but is with a proper consumption of this. But we want to go a bit further in AskAI. We actually want to integrate AskAI within Slack and Teams integrations directly with ClicData. So from Teams, you could actually just chat with Teams and basically ask, what are the sales of this? Who's the best sales for? And reply that. And the response could not only be just a word, but actually could also be a dashboard ready-made for you on the spot. So we want to go a bit further into these integrations. On the AI still, but moving into the data flow, we're going to have some new nodes. Most of them coming up are all AI specific, either using OpenAI or some level of advanced statistical analysis. So sentiment analysis node is coming up and summarize node, those being the most important ones. If you want more information on those, feel free to contact the team. A translate node, a detect language node, and a forecast node. Simple forecasting. There's going to be some basic parameterization in all of these as to which columns to look at, what properties to look at, and where to put in the results. But in essence, there will be a very simplified version for you to use of a very advanced model for all of these. We will then also have a find and replace node, something that has been asked of us, and a convert type node. Those are standard nodes that we can do those, potentially using formulas and so forth, but we're going to actually make them wizard-like, so they're a lot easier to use. And I mentioned the fact that we delivered Synapse. Synapse was on beta for a few months last year. We're getting some good results. We're still fine-tuning this with some of the customers. One of a particular customer that has been helping us with this is looking at using Synapse for multi-billion row tables, which is a great use case for Synapse. Again, the difference will be we will continue to offer SQLDB, which we find is a very powerful database, up to 4 terabytes, which very few people have actually reached. Synapse can go up to 100 terabytes. So we have capability of scale. We are also looking at PostgreSQL. And PostgreSQL is also a very good database engine. And it presents some benefits as well in terms of cost. It has a very good cost-performance ratio, whereas SQLDB is definitely performs much, much better than PostgreSQL in the way that we've implemented it. PostgreSQL has its place in the market and for many customers. And if we can offer subscriptions at a reduced cost, hosting your data in the same level of security, segregation, and regional placement as we can with SQLDB, why not use Postgre? And this will open the doors potentially for other customers that also want to host their data within Google BigQuery or Redshift if they're Google or Amazon Cloud users already or customers. On the Insights module, again, Anna alluded to the fact that we had Quick Insights and we moved that to its own module. Quick Insights and Insights ran in parallel again for 4 months. We were looking for use cases and usability of those modules. They were both built differently, slightly different, again, to test some of the features and some of the usability. And I believe now we have a better idea of what we want to do with it. There is the vision of insights taken a bit further than what it is today. Today, we can say it's a very basic pivoting table tool. But where we want to take it and what we've learned from those tests was a different thing, was behind the scenes data processing and usability. Where we want to go with this is definitely a brand new interface coming up soon, but also adding group views and add more visualization possibilities. Once we have that as a basis, what we want to do is actually take this into a data room. A data room, which is basically a more ample workspace, if you will, where you can start building different types of visualizations, connected or not, which in a sense can be seen as kind of a dashboard. But think more of as a scratchpad or a playground for your data rather than a presentable visual dashboard for your end users. With that, we move to reports, which is kind of the reverse of that, where the other one was very flexible, playground, brainstorming data. Reports is very rigid, multi-page PDFs, whether we like it or not. This module has been met with a little bit of passive-aggressive use of it. A lot of people said, well, this resembles very much a typical report designer, and we don't know how to build it better than a report designer. So, but we are adding some really cool features. Subtables is definitely one of them, and charts. I also feel that we can do a better job in how it renders and how fast it renders. And of course, make these available via live links like we have in many other objects. We would welcome any and all feedback on reports. I know this is a module that has a place in some businesses, product catalogs, P&Ls, balance sheets, things that are not really dashboard or made for dashboards, but are more multi-page and pixel perfect kind of thing. I want to continue to develop and to invest in it because I do feel there is a place for it, but we need more feedback from our users to do this. What we have dashboards. So obviously our dashboard designer is the core for a lot of the visualizations, but as with every single other piece of ClicData that has been revamped in 2023, using new frameworks, using new technology, the dashboard designer will also go through this. We will offer this in parallel, not as a replacement initially. The dashboard will be designed with a lot of things in mind from the get-go that we've learned over the last 6 years. So we'll start with from the get-go by making animations and annotations and the layout and the zooming in facility, which will not exist. It will not be a zoom, but more a grid layout. All these will kind of come together into this new version, and we'll slowly add more widgets and capabilities to it. This, by the way, do not look this for the early part of 2024 or potentially the early part of 2025. This will be potentially running. It'll start this year, but probably not be delivered until 2025. The data scripts module, which used to be called the Python module, the data scripts module has been kind of already in alpha internally. We're still working on it based on scalability and security. These are issues that continue to come up all the time. We have been working on for a long time, indeed. Python is a very powerful language, and because of that, we have to be very sure of how we release this out to our customers. The programming power of Python can consume a lot of resources, and you can code a lot of things in Python. Some things not so harmless. So running Python in a security environment is our main priority, and one that can scale. If you need more cores to run your Python assessments on your data, your algorithm, then we want to make sure that we can scale that easily for you as well. And tied in with that is obviously the pricing of all of this that needs to come into place in a way that needs to be obviously accessible. I'm hoping to see a beta of this being released to some customers this year, potentially even before the mid-year, but I don't want to promise this now because I'm no longer the CTO. So I will let the CTO make that promise to us. But I'm very comfortable to see something that's going to happen around June, July of this year. Security, multiple IDPs. This has been a requested feature from some of you. The ability that each user in your account can identify and authenticate against a different IDP. So you can have your main user authenticating with ClicData, another user authenticating with Office 365, another using, etc., and so forth. So that piece is well underway. You've already seen the login page has changed, and a few other items have changed. So this is coming online also very soon. Security keys is the hype these days for devices and browsers that support it. We are going to enable that feature as well sometime in 2024. This is a new module that will replace something that we have today called the custom table. The custom table, for those of you that don't know it, is the ability, it's in the data menu, the table and view menu, I should say, or module. You can create a custom table using our own schema and different column types and immediately enter data. It's useful for dictionary tables, interface tables, things that you don't want to have to create an Excel or another database table in your main source database. You can create it directly into ClicData. We're going to extend this and combine it as well with something else that has been requested of us, which is the ability, similar to how we have a data form widget on the dashboard that allows users to enter data directly through the dashboard. They want that in a row-based format, much like an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to combine all those ideas into a new module called, the data apps. Potentially the name may change somewhere along the line. But the idea is that you have a screen, much like a dashboard, but that you can choose to create forms on that screen or create an Excel-like spreadsheet that allows you to manipulate data, edit, delete, add new rows or fields of data into your custom table, in a sense, which is really, in essence, just a table. This becomes, in a way, a low-code app module that you will then be able to integrate into your dashboard or as a live link, a standalone live link. This is a great way for you to create surveys, ask customers for data, as a replacement for typical form, similar systems that do it. Google Forms would be the one that come to mind, or Typeform. The advantage being that it would go directly into your data sets, and obviously your dashboards will reflect it right away. This will replace the current custom table feature that we have, as it will be refactored to be in line with this. On the schedules and alerts side of things, we're going to include SMS and text alerts. I'm not sure how many people are interested in this feature. And basically, I don't need to go much further into it, but instead of sending an email, we can send text alerts if certain values or sales values or metrics go beyond a threshold. You get an instant text alert. By the way, I hope you appreciate the AI-generated images that I've put into this presentation throughout, where we can clearly see that he knows how to speak some kind of language, but not anything meaningful. But nonetheless, they did a pretty good job. I land with infrastructure, and a lot of things, again, reiterate what we've done last year have been behind the scenes in converting the infrastructure. There were things that we did, for example, the global access points, which allow you to, through your browser, enter the Microsoft network at a point nearest to you, geographically speaking, or at least internet speaking. This allows us to do two things. The first one is that you'll have a much better speed response, because the faster you enter into the Microsoft network, the faster the communication it is with our servers within the Microsoft Azure infrastructure. The second is it's more secure because you're no longer flying over the public internet. You are already within our intranet, if you will. We've also did some work on security cookies and storage and the white labeled web services, which allow now your web services no longer show ClicData as well. So they are part of your domain. And obviously we did a lot of things such as your SSL certificates due to this. We had to do a lot of things around that, which is actually of a benefit because once again, you don't have to worry about your SSL certificates. We take care of that for you. We generate them, we renew them every 3 months. So it's more secure this way than waiting every year to renew them and so forth. This year, we'll continue to build upon that behind the scenes. A scalable signal R service, that's a service that basically communicates with your browser. So if your data refresh is finished, the thing stops spinning. That's a signal R service that's telling your browser your refresh is ready, or your upload, or your export, or what have you. All these things have an impact on your experience. We're now going to move up to a different type of signal R service provided by Azure, which is much more scalable, much more performant. And all this has now enabled us as well to move to more regional and dedicated application services. What that does is also move our application code closer to your data and closer to you. So if you're in the UK and you have your data in the UK and your workers are in the UK, you're going to have application services also sitting very close to you, whereas now they probably are in Ireland. Again, this is still all within Azure, within our network, but the distance plays a factor even in a short distance between Ireland and London, or between Dublin and London, or wherever Azure is hosted. But it still plays an important role. And the closer we can make the data to the application services, the better. That is, in a nutshell, everything that we're aiming to accomplish this year. It is a lot of things, but I am sure that we will achieve them. So again, if you have any questions or suggestions, it's not set in stone. So please do tell us what you're looking for. And we built ClicData with your input. We will continue to do so. This is what we've heard, and this is some of the things we need to do, but not necessarily what we can prioritize different. Okay. With that, back to you, Anna.
Thank you very much, everyone, and happy dashboarding.